Hello, SFL. It's Guy here, and I got my good old buddy Will.
Yep, ready for another week.
That's our boy, Big Willie. So we are going to, or is it Little Willie? It's Little Willie, isn't it?
Well, this is Big Willie.
That's
Little
Big
Willie's got
Willie,
the
Willie.
hat.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Yeah, we're gonna try our new method out here. We're gonna try to keep this podcast nice and short. I'm gonna start out with trades. So we had one very big trade already happen in the league in week one, where D Haas got Khalil Herbert and Drake London, and he shipped away Aaron Jones and Michael Gallup to Victor. What do you think about this trade, Will?
Well, obviously Drake London didn't have any points this last week, and he was on like two of my other teams, and so obviously that doesn't help. But I think D Haas wins this trade if all things are considered correct. I mean, he needed a wide receiver, so he went and got Drake London. Aaron Jones has got a hamstring, so you never know what that's going to be like if he's going to play, this week, if he's going to be limited, whatever. But
hmm
um, you know, I think at the time of the trade, it was a good trade. It's looking a little bit less. I mean, Gallup didn't have a good game either, so it was really just Aaron Jones for Herbert if you think
Yeah,
about it from week one, and Jones won that matchup. So it's I think it's a fair trade from both sides. Each got what they wanted out of it, and hopefully Jones is healthy to help Victor out.
I have a different take on it. From the computer side, obviously, it was a fair trade, right? I think they got equal value. The trade truly was Aaron Jones for Drake London and Khalil Herbert, and Michael Gallup was just a little sweetener on top on that side. So, um, but me as a person, an individual, I think D Haas got fleeced. And this was before the season started, before we watched the games. This is my opinion. I want to go from before then rather than what we know now. But um, I because I think Aaron Jones is great, and I said from the beginning I think Khalil Herbert is going to get placed by Roshan Johnson by like week 4 or 5, and Drake London isn't that good because he plays for a team. I mean, Drake London as a player is great, don't get me wrong, but for a fantasy, I don't like him because he plays for a team that just wants to run the ball, and all their passes are these little dink dunk passes. So even when he does get targets, they don't doesn't get them for a lot of points because he's not getting a lot of yards. So yeah, I thought D Haas got fleeced personally. That's my personal opinion. I think Aaron Jones for those two players is a steal.
And I can understand that because of what we saw from the coach of Atlanta saying that I don't care about Drake London and Drake London doesn't care about his receptions. He
hmm
just wants to win. I'm not 100% sold on that feeling of Drake London. I think Drake London wants to get catches because he will help his team win if he gets catches. He's the
Yes.
best player
He's,
on that team,
well,
I would
I
say.
would say Bijan's the best player on that team.
Well, it's true.
You watch
But I
that
think
little touchdown, that juke, whoop, and he did
it
on
was
that touchdown. That
pretty
was
it
so
was
sweet.
pretty sweet. I just think that, if anything, you've got your best wide receiver weapon not getting any catches. I don't think that's a smart play by your coaching staff.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the ground and pound strat's pretty terrible. Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and move on to why. Oh, do you want to talk about our trade? Because we did
Sure.
a trade.
Correct. So right now it's finishing up, but it should be finalized because I'm not looking to deal anything or switch anything up. But basically, I really needed a quarterback. This no quarterback strategy is definitely not going to work after what I saw from Dobbs. And so getting a quarterback was key. Barkley, that's a good one for you, I think, because he had a terrible game and he still had 12 points. If they score a
Yeah,
little bit, he's going to score a touchdown.
yeah,
I think he's a 20-point scorer each and every week. And so that's why, everybody says 1 for 3. I needed 3 to give me enough points in a way because the points that you're getting from that just one player that really is going to help your team, satisfy your team, is going to really help me fill
yeah.
out a wide receiver spot I needed as well as that. So I think it helped both of us. I think that you have the upper hand in the trade because Barkley is just one of those players you don't trade for usually, but I needed to get a quarterback, so that's how I had to do it.
That's funny. I think you got the upper hand on that trade, and I think when both people like leave the trade with, I think the other person got the upper hand. That's probably a sign of a good trade. I think, both of us are sitting here thinking like, oh, I don't think it was that good, and I agree. Like after last week, it was obvious I need a running back. Damian Pierce just isn't cutting it by himself. The Texas team looks really bad, and I did not have a second running back at all. My second running back would be Roshan Johnson, which again I think would be amazing, but probably
Yeah,
just
you
later
wouldn't
down
give
the
me that.
field.
You wouldn't give him to me in that trade, which I
No,
totally get. And I really wanted AJ because of course, the interesting what is Aaron Jones going to
Jones injury.
do.
Yeah,
But
I wasn't getting him either.
Gibson, they say he's going to play. I think Gibson is just like anything. It's like who's going to have the upper hand each week, him or
Or
Robinson.
Robinson. Yeah,
And last game was Robinson. Maybe Gibson's this week. So he had a fumble and they shut him down basically. So that was a tough
yeah.
one for you.
Yeah, and I'm also giving you Geno Smith, which is quarterback, which you need. So
Definitely.
going down to just two QBs on the roster, where when Holden is holding all the QBs now.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be hard to get another one for the bye week, but we'll try to live. We'll try to live. I think it was a good trade. I think it was a good trade. Let's just move on here to the waiver wires now. We have, let's start off with the big one. Holden getting Zach Wilson for $100 and the second bid being Rob for 61. What do you think
I
about
think
that?
Rob never thought he would lose that battle.
I don't think so either.
And I don't want to take us off track, but I can tell you that at the beginning of week 1, there was a trade between me and Robert that was a possibility, and I just said no, which was Chase, and I was going to get Rodgers in that trade. That was
Oh
going to be my
man.
quarterback, and I got lucky that I decided not to accept that one. But yeah, I'm not sure about that whole move by Holden with $100. It's just one Zach Wilson in general, $100, but crazy, just crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this one my what the fuck were you thinking of the week? This is a good award to get, I guess. Holden, you already have like what, four quarterbacks and
4.
4 or 5 before this trade even happened, or
4
before this
before.
pickup. Now this is your fifth, and you're gonna pay 2/3 of your entire budget for Zach Wilson. What the fuck are you thinking, man? And like just like you said, I think Rob fully expected to get. He was like probably put in a bid of like 30, and then he was like, I really can't afford to lose this bid. And Rogers went down, and he probably thought about it some more, and he came back and he's like, you know what? I need to put in a bid that nobody is going to beat. Nobody's going to beat. And then he goes and puts in $60, and who beats him? Holden. Holden for a fucking 100. What? Nobody
Yeah,
expect that.
crazy.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. We're gonna go on to our second bid here, which was Dylan got Puka Nakua for $84, and he was barely beat me for 77. And again, this is one of those where I thought I wasn't gonna get beat. I was like, I'm losing DeAndre Hopkins on this trade. I need to get another wide receiver that gets a lot of targets. Puka had 15 last week. I was okay. What bid can I throw out there that nobody will beat? And it was 77, and apparently that wasn't good enough because Dylan was like, "Fuck you, 84." What do you think about this, Will?
I see. I see it all over the place. Like everybody's going after Puka. I think that it was one of those flash in the pans. I think that he's gonna have a good year and maybe get 6 or 7. But that 15 he had is not happening again. There was a weird game, weird plan. I think that what's his face, Phil Cooper will be back, and so I don't know if 84 is a lot for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's actually a good player, but we'll see. Going on to the next one with Dylan again following up his 84 bid with a $54 bid for Joshua Kelly. and
Is it
he,
confirmed that he's out?
uh,
That I mean, I know that Kelly still had a lot of run time, obviously,
yeah,
without him in the game. But yeah, is it confirmed that what's his face is out? I just
Eckler.
forgot his name. Eckler, yeah.
I think he's out, man. It's an ankle injury. It's probably gonna be out.
Okay, well,
But I
that's
mean, it's
good.
still early in the week.
Yeah,
But yeah, $54 for Joshua Kelly, and he beat out D Haas for 41. So that one was pretty close too. Dylan bid up big monies on these two players, and he, didn't beat the second place by that much. Um, yeah, I don't really have much to say about this one. What do you think?
yeah. I think it's again going back to is he going to be taking over? Is Eichler going to be gone for a lot of weeks? I just wouldn't put that much money into it. I guess I don't put a lot of money into Fab as much as I probably should. I look to trade more
Yeah,
than I care about that. So I'm, the money wise, I probably wouldn't have put more than $10 on any in these guys because I don't see them as breakers for the whole year. That's the thing.
yeah. And then we'll just go real quick for the last couple of guys here. We got Kendrick Bourne for 38. Second
Yeah,
place was $9. I feel like Area really overpaid for this guy. He's been in the league for a long time. I don't think he's that good.
yeah. And Ariel's he loving it, so good for him.
Yeah,
I liked your pickup of Rashid. I put in a bid, but I knew it wasn't going to win. Again, like I said, I didn't care. Well, I actually didn't put a bid in. I was going to put a bid in, but I didn't. But I didn't think I'd get him because I didn't really want him that bad.
yeah.
So I was like, it's not even worth it.
He's a third wide receiver on the team. I feel like he got more targets than he'll normally get, but he's like the way I look at it, he's a big play guy, and he can supplement that with some targets here or there,
Mhm.
and the kick and punt return yards is,
Yeah.
which I always value that a lot. But I seem to be the only one in the league that does. We got Kyle only won on Justice Hill for 25. Victor only won on Tutu for 16. Jordan Hunter Henry went for only 9, which is a shock to me. Allen Robinson for 6, and then we got a bunch of kickers and or
Mhm.
not really that important amount of guys.
Yeah.
Um,
I was surprised about Justice Hill, but I already had Gus Edwards, so I didn't need to go after it. It's going to be a combo of him and Edwards, so I'm good where I'm at.
yeah, so let's check out where everybody's budget is at this. Ariel went down to 108, Kyle to 95. Gary barely used his. You didn't use yours at all. D Haas only used 5. Holden used 100 on Zach Wilson, down to 50. Dylan is down to only $13 now. Rob 150. Victor 144. Chalupa nothing. I used a good bit down to 118, and Jordan with a little bit down to 131.
I'm hoping for now with all this money's gone, that somebody else comes up that's I can start going. I can go hard, and these guys can't do it, so they'll take it.
Right, yeah. Which is always the game. Do you get the guy who seems really good at the beginning of your season, or do you wait for injuries to pop up and get the replacements and stuff? Let's go ahead and break down these games. We're gonna go ahead and start off with my game because that's at the top of my list here. And Victor beats me for 190 points to 164. One thing that I'm going to start looking at this year is the touchdowns because I feel like that's a good way to look at if somebody overperformed or underperformed. If they get a lot of touchdowns, compared to week. Victor went 8 touchdowns, which is a lot, and I got 5, which I think is around the average. 5, 6 is probably around the average touchdowns that people are going to get. I really underperformed in a lot of my positions. Gibson, Pierce were bad. Tyler Lockett got hurt and got pulled from the game. Kyle Pitts didn't do much, but I was kind of expecting that. Didn't get a lot from the kicker. And even though I had a monster game from Tyreek Hill with 50 points, it just wasn't enough. Victor really went off. Jordan Love, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, super good game. Aaron Jones, another 2 touchdowns from him, monstrous game. That trade really helped him out this week. Um, would have been awesome to play him without Aaron Jones and with 0 points from Drake London on the board, but not going to happen. I'm going to have to say sorry to Victor. I called your team F tier. But honestly, I think some of your pickups ended up being really good. I think, even though I think your team overperformed, don't get me wrong, your team overperformed this week. You're not going to get 190 points every week. Your team, you definitely scored a shit ton more touchdowns than you normally will. But Jordan Love really did look really good. Um, Zay Flowers, watching that game, he looks legit, like the real deal, extremely like energetic, making guys miss, making plays out of nothing. And it's on Porter look good too. So I'm sorry, Victor. Your team is actually good. I'm sorry for talking so much shit. Will, you got anything?
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, Laporta. You touched on Laporta. That was a surprise. I think he had a pretty good game comparatively. I didn't think that was going to be his. I didn't think they were going to actually go to him that often. So that seemed like a better pickup, definitely.
Uh, Next game we got here is Kyle beat you 151 points to
Yeah.
138. Kyle had 5 touchdowns. You only had 3.
Yeah.
You
I
had
mean,
a lot of duds this game.
oh,
Dobbs,
it was bad. I should have
Thielen.
won this game. I mean, Thielen, I couldn't believe only 2 targets the whole game on that offense that was throwing the ball repeatedly, and then Schultz. Those are the two that I was really upset about. Everybody else, for the
Yeah.
most part, I think performed what I thought. I was hoping Dobbs would not have those turnovers. He had 2 turnovers.
That
That's
was
what
pretty
killed
horrible.
me. But if it wasn't for Richardson's game, I would have easily won.
Hmm.
But at the same time, my team is not good, and that's why I had to make a trade because, I can't go with Dobbs is not going to be the guy.
And I think Kyle's team is showing us that his team is better than we thought it was going to be coming into the season. Lamar Jackson didn't perform that much. He had some other big players not performing. Oh, T. Higgins only got 0 receptions out of 8 targets. Some big underperformances on his teams, and some of his other players showing that they're probably good. Actually, Perrine, Richardson, Algier,
Yeah, I mean,
all showed up.
Algier
So
was that's the one that hurt me. I mean,
yeah,
there's no way that Algier should have 2 touchdowns, but
yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Next game we had Holden beats Rob 172 points to 121, an absolute rout. Rob only 3 touchdowns. Holden has 6. Rogers got hurt. No Kelsey this week, so you'd think that his team is going to be bad regardless. Um, but he's a comeback candidate. He still has good players on this team. I think his team is going to come back and still be decent, but without Rogers, it's going to be rough.
Definitely, and Tannehill, who again had another rough game, being his only other quarterback is going to be tough.
Yeah, and Holden had absolute monster games from Tua Tagovailoa, 47 points,
I
and
know.
Michael Pittman with 27. I think this is probably where he's going to score for the rest of the week. I think he had some underperformances and some other overperformances. I think this is average game. 170 looks about right.
Yeah.
Um, Next game we have here, which is I thought the game of the week coming into this week, but I didn't get say it on the last podcast. We had the championship rematch, D Haas versus Dylan. D Haas takes it 180 points to 163 from Dylan. 6 touchdowns for D Haas, 6 touchdowns for Dylan. It really came down to kickers and yards. And even though Diaz shot himself in the foot with that trade, with the Drake London 0 and not having the 30 points from Aaron Jones, I think his team is still going to be really good.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Uh,
And with Dylan's team, he's gonna have to rely on some people. Like, I don't think you see Zay Jones having another big game for Jacksonville. Or is it Zay Jones? Yeah. And and then if you look at other people on his team, he he has a solid team, but is CJ Stroud going to perform each and every week? That's going to be a quick key.
Yeah, I think Dylan had one of those games where his stars didn't go off, and he did draft a star-heavy lineup. So when his stars don't go off, I think this is kind of what you're going to get from him. He's a good team when his stars go off, and when they don't, it's not going to be. I mean, Jefferson had 30 points, but Mahomes 28. But they really need to like actually blow up, and it looks like Dalvin Cook is not going to be that good on the Jets, which is kind of disappointing for Dylan, I'm sure. But he does have Romeo Dobbs, which we'll see if he plays him or not next week. Um, Next game here, we have Ariel goes ahead and beats Gary 163 points to 142. Both players scored only 4 touchdowns. Do you have anything to say about
And
this game?
yeah, I mean, Diggs had a huge game, especially in the overtime too. It was very close in that their whole week, and again, he had just such big performances by a couple of people to really help his team out. So I think that Gary's team is actually better on paper going forward, but they just didn't. I mean, Daniel Jones having 3 points,
Yeah,
I don't think that's never going to happen again.
yeah. Uh, Yeah, so I basically feel the same way. Gary, disappointing game with Daniel Jones and Kittle both sucking, and his kicker sucked too. It's just one of those games where his team just underperformed to what it would averagely, what it would normally do, I think. But he also has a lot of good running backs on his roster. He's got Joe Mixon, Pacheco, ETN, and he even had Brees Hall on the bench. He has definitely trade pieces here that he can use to leverage himself. An improvement in another position somewhere, which could maybe even trade Holden for one of his quarterbacks to improve
Yeah,
this Jano Jones situation here. And I think Ariel scored about where he's going to score this week. Even though Josh Allen underperformed, I think Riddler is just going to continue sucking. He's probably not going to be 13 points every game, but probably a little bit better. Yeah, I still think Ariel has a pretty good team, and he's going to continue doing well. And the last game of the week we had here, Kim beat Jordan 170 points to 152. Kim overperformed with 8 touchdowns this week. Jordan had the 5 touchdowns. And Jordan had a lot of his players struggle for this game as well. What do you think, Will?
yeah. I mean, Deontay Johnson being out was not as big as you'd think, but for her team, she doesn't have a lot of depth behind it. And so
Hmm.
that's the thing is when I was looking to do trades, I went to everybody, and I needed a wide receiver, and I saw that with Johnson out, she's going to struggle on that side. But if you look at Jordan's team, I really like his team. I think it's very solid all the way through. And other than probably Scary Terry, I think he played the lineup he should, and he just, like you said, didn't get the touchdowns.
Yeah, he didn't get the touchdowns. His team just kind of underperformed a little bit, and Kim overperformed with on the touchdown situations. I'm actually surprised that Jordan and Kim, both of these teams, could have probably gone on the waiver wire and done something, and neither of them did. Should have got one of these players to give them that extra push. Especially Kim, I think she needs wide receivers now that Deontay Johnson got hurt. Um, and yeah, Rashad White is their flex, and he's just not. He's not watching the Bucks game. He's not good. Yeah, I don't think he's good. So, um, yeah, that wraps up all the games for last week. Just want to look in here into next week. I want to propose my game of the week for this coming week is going to be Big Truck Little Willie versus Campbell Soup. It's projected to be a very close game, only 3 points, 2 points between the two of them. Very good friends, and Willie is making a big trade to help his team. See if he can fix the team and come back to a big week. I'm very excited for your game, Will.
Yeah, I mean, me too. And I think obviously with the trade, I think my projected will definitely go up based on the two players I'm going to be getting rid of Dobbs in that lineup is a huge thing. But yeah, I think it's going to be a solid week. I think Ariel's team is good. I think that it's going to be a tough week. I don't want to go 0-2 to start the season, especially in the division. It's going to be tough, but we'll see. I'm really looking forward actually to the Robert and Dylan game. I think that's going to be fun. Hopefully, we get a video from one of them to
Oh,
talk
yes.
some talk some shit to each other. So we'll see. I mean, it's overall. I think it's it's going to be a fun week this week, and I'm really excited about week 2.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you, everybody. See you later, FSL. Have a good one. Bye bye.